Hey guys, how we doing and how we feeling today? Okay, so on this episode, we're gonna talk about and review Dua Lipa's third studio album titled Radical Optimism. Now, Dua Lipa needs no introduction whatsoever. Right now in 2024, she's already a main pop girl, and she has been ever since her second studio album, Future Nostalgia, which was released back in 2020, in the pandemic. Now, this album is a blend of mainly four subgenres, which are dance pop, neo psychedelia, electropop, and europop. Prior to the album release, we had three singles, which were Houdini, Training Season, and Illusion. Now, onto the album itself. So, the album is 36 minutes and 35 seconds long, so it's on the shorter side of a listening session. You can breeze right through it. Now, starting with the first track, End of an Era, the production grabs the listener's attention from the get go, setting the tone for the album. This is a strong opening track. This song gives off a strong summer vibe. For some reason, the track ends with several seconds of silence, making the transition to the next one feel unnatural, so that takes some points off the song. And in this song, Dua talks about being a hopeless romantic, as she always finds herself jumping the gun, diving headfirst whenever she likes someone new. She's always sure she has found her one true love, marking the end of her single era. So, this is a pretty interesting way to start the album because, well, first of all, the track is named End of an Era. So, that's kind of ironic because this would be the start of her new era, even though it was technically Houdini, which we're gonna talk about in a second. But also, I mean, who can't relate to this song? I mean, everyone can, because there are a lot of us who are hopeless romantics. We're very impulsive when we like someone. We can even be delusioned into thinking, if that's even a word, into thinking that person can be the one for us. But most likely it's not the case, but we're very in delusion like that, Now, moving on to track number 2, Houdini, the first of my highlights on the album. This is the lead single, as I already said. This track is a step up from the previous opening track. This song is very catchy and radio friendly, which made it the ideal lead single for this era. This track is named after famous illusionist Harry Houdini, and illusion is something that we'll see later on in this album, as I previously mentioned. The production sounds haunting towards the end, which fits the title, and psychedelic elements can be heard all throughout. And in this song, Dua talks about how she approaches dating. She isn't one to take anyone's bullshit, so if a guy wrongs her, then she feels the need to cut things off with him, as abrupt as it may be. And yeah, I mean, this is a pretty common thing nowadays, ghosting. I'm pretty sure we've all done it at some point. And it's not great to do it, but I mean, then other people do it to us, so why not do it back? But in this case, I mean, as Dua is saying in the song, in the case that the other person isn't doing you any good anymore, like the situation isn't favoring you anymore, then yeah, of course, ghost that person. I mean, they deserve it, Now, track number 3, Training Season, another one of my highlights on the album. This is a second single, as I already said. This track keeps the momentum going. Dua's vocals here are stunning, especially during the chorus. Like with the previous track Houdini, the production here sounds haunting at times. And like Houdini, the song is pretty catchy and radio friendly, so it makes sense why it was pushed as a single. And in this song, Dua talks about meeting someone new and wondering if he can provide what she's looking for in a partner and love her the way she needs to be loved. She has been disappointed countless times by now and doesn't want to waste any more of her time. Nor does she have the patience to keep telling every new guy how to date her properly. Okay, so this song also pretty relatable because we all go through this when we're in the dating scene. There comes a moment in time where we've dated a lot of different people, sometimes back to back because things don't work out. Like the first date doesn't even go well, so you just move on to the new person. So there comes a time when you say like, okay, as this song says, you say like, okay, this has been enough. Like training season is over, as Dua says. I don't have time anymore to try out new people. I'm ready to find the person that is right for me, like someone who won't waste my time. You know, someone who basically you don't have to tell that person how to date you properly, how to love you properly. Even if sometimes you have to, like, you feel like you can find a person who can like read you like that, like they know just how to date you, basically, to love you. Now, moving on to track number 4, These Walls. The production here is somewhat weak. Dua's vocals are this song's strong suit. And in this song, Dua talks about coming to terms with the fact that her relationship has run its course, but not wanting to be the one to break it off. So yeah, basically the song is saying like, it's talking about two people, and it's like they're saying like, if these walls could talk, like the walls of this room, for example, of this house, of this space, of this place, they would say like, okay, we see that you're not working out. We see that you're not good for one another, so you just have to break up, you know? But Dua, in this case, doesn't want to be the one to break the news, so she hopes that maybe the other person will break it off, so she doesn't have to. Now, track number 5, What You Doin', another one of my highlights. Dua gets things back on track with this song. The instrumentation, production, and Dua's vocals all blend together to craft an excellent song. And in this song, Dua talks about being taken aback by what the guy she's dating is making her feel. She wonders if he could be the one to finally change her for the better. So this song is basically saying, what are you doing to me? Like, why am I feeling this way? Like, why do I feel like I'm maybe gonna change for the better this time with you? Like, what is it about you that is making me want to be a better person? Now, track number 6, French Exit, another one of my highlights. The instrumentation, the acoustic guitar especially, and production give the song a summer vibe like the opening track. A French exit is the act of leaving a place or event without notifying anyone there. And I, for example, didn't know this term beforehand, before listening to this album, so this is a pretty interesting way of learning this term. And in this song, Dua talks about feeling a disconnect from the guy she's dating and going with her gut feeling of abandoning the relationship. Going as far as leaving without saying goodbye and ghost him. She hopes he will understand such a rash decision, only knowing for certain that time will help patch things up. Okay, so as I said, I didn't know what this term meant, but I mean, I'm pretty sure I've done this before. Many of us have. Like, we don't, we're not feeling connected anymore with a certain person we're in a relationship with, and you think it's better to just get out of there without saying anything and practically ghost that person. I know it's not the ideal thing to do, but sometimes you just wanna like abandon the ship. You feel like it's already sinking and you don't want to go down with it. Now, track number 7, Illusion, another one of my highlights. This is a third single. This, as I already mentioned, this track was wisely chosen as a single. And in this song, Dua stops pretending like a certain guy in her life is as good as she wants to picture him, and starts seeing him for who he really is. She is known to look past red flags in people, so this time she realizes that the guy in question is the type to make false promises and knows just the right things to say to please their love interest. Dua just can't help but be amused at the thought of this guy being certain that she'll fall for this illusion. So this is also a pretty relatable song because, you know, a lot of us go through this. We may see red flags in someone, but either we choose to ignore it or just accept it for what it is. Like, we're really stuck on this person. Like, you really want to be with a certain person, even though they have these detractors to them. And like that person, as I said, that person like knows just the right thing to do or say. Like, they can like manipulate you and promise you things that they won't fulfill. So, but if you're smart, you'll realize that, hey, I need to snap out of reality. Sorry, what am I saying? I need to snap back into reality and out of this illusion, and I have to see the situation for what it is. Like, this person is not good for me. Like, why am I so stuck on this person if they're not gonna add anything to me, like anything positive, you know? Now, track number 8, Falling Forever, the last of my highlights on the album. Dua pulls the listener in immediately with her captivating vocals, and this track is easily where she is the strongest vocally. This feels like the climax of the album. This song has a lot of potential to be pushed as a single and become a hit. I can really feel that Dua and her team will push this song as the 4th single. I really see that vision, and I hope that happens because I really think that it could become a hit, and this era really needs one. And in this song, Dua talks about wanting to have too much of a good thing with her partner. She wishes they could just keep falling deeper in love with each other and for the honeymoon phase to never end. So, a lot of us feel this when we are in a relationship. Like, of course, everyone wants to live in the honeymoon phase forever, but that's just not how it works. You know, there comes a time when that phase ends and the real relationship begins. Like, problems start to arise, and some people may take that as a way to back out immediately. But then there are others who are resilient and really stick with that person. Like, even if things are not pretty, they're gonna stick by that person and they're gonna fight for them. So Dua is basically talking about exactly that, that she wants to be in that phase, in that initial phase, forever with that person. She doesn't want things to get ugly. Now, track number 9, Anything for Love. The beginning of this track, after the spoken part, because at the beginning you can hear Dua and, like, I guess some of her friends talking, and the beginning of this track makes the listener think it's a ballad, which is a rarity for Dua. I mean, she's known by now by making dance pop hits, for example, or mainly, should I say. But then the song switches it up and becomes faster paced. The weakest track on the album, I would say, especially because of the production. And in this song, Dua talks about wanting someone who doesn't give up easily at the first sight of problems and will do just about anything to keep their love alive. She wants a fighter, not a quitter. So basically what I was talking about with the previous track, that Dua basically is talking about wanting someone who's not gonna give up easily. Like, they're gonna keep fighting for who they love and for what they believe in. And so she wants someone who is like that, who has that resilience and endurance, and not someone who will just call it quits when something gets bad. Now, track number 10, Maria. The instrumentation, especially the acoustic guitar, gives the track a more laid-back feel and sound. At least that's what it sounds like in the beginning. And in this song, Dua thanks Maria, the ex of her partner, for shaping him into the man he is now. Dua knows that whatever went down in that past relationship made this guy learn from his mistakes and become a better person and partner for her. So this song, I would say, is a pretty mature song for Dua, which is a good thing, obviously, like, because it kind of reminds me of Thank You Next by Ariana Grande, in the sense that Dua is being thankful for, that's not a good comparison. No, forget that comparison. What I was gonna say is that basically Dua is thankful for the ex of her partner, not an ex of hers, an ex of her partner, because that girl basically led that man to be the man he is now. Like, when he was with Maria, he was colder, more bitter, and was not the better person he is now. So Dua is like, thank you, Maria, for basically making my man go through those things with you and make him learn from his mistakes and make him become a better person for me. Now, that leads us to the last track on this album, track number 11, Happy For You. The song's message is the ideal one to close out the album. This is a strong closing track. Dua makes sure to give it her all vocally to end the album on a high note. And in this song, Dua opens up about how she truly feels about her ex moving on to someone new. Rather than feeling bitter about it, she actually feels happy for him. She accepts the fact that they weren't meant to stay together, even with how much she loves him. So she's glad he could find someone new and hopes he's happy with this new girl in his life. So an even more mature song for Dua, because she could be mad or hurt by her ex, but instead she chooses to just feel happiness for him, that he moved on to someone new, he found someone new. Even with how much she loves him, she knows that everything happens for a reason. So there's a reason why, or many reasons why, they aren't together anymore. Now, overall, this is a solid pop album. Dua switched things up rather than doubling down on her previous album Future Nostalgia's heavy 80s disco-inspired aesthetic and sound. Dua released this summer-sounding album at the ideal moment, just in time for summertime. The production is mostly consistent, and this album sounds better with each listening session. Now, when comparing this album to the rest of Dua's discography, do I consider this to be her best album yet? I would say a hard no. Future Nostalgia is by far Dua's best album to date, which is her second album, so I'll go briefly through her short discography. We have her debut self-titled studio album, Dua Lipa, which was a solid debut album, and Dua got her breakthrough hit during this debut era with New Rules. Then we have Future Nostalgia, as I already mentioned, the second album. It was with this album that Dua switched to a sound that fit her vocals and style, which was this like disco dance pop sound. This was a monumental improvement from her debut album and one of the best pop albums released in the 2020s decade thus far, being even considered by many a pop bible. And that brings us to this album that we just reviewed, Radical Optimism. So what score do I give Radical Optimism? I give it a solid 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, guys, that was my review for Radical Optimism by Dua Lipa. Before I go, make sure to follow Pop and Bop on social media for more content. It's basically Pop and Bop on all social media. And yeah, this has been Pop and Bop. I'm Emilio Fernandez. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time when we sit down and review Billie Eilish's third studio album, Hit Me Hard and Soft. See you next time.